It is still a mystery. You see, back in May, I thought I'd lost one of my favourite things in all the world. My blue, white and red and green hand warmers, wrist warmers. Now, before I share the mystery, it's important to note that this episode is about the power of home comforts. And if you've checked out this CoffeeCast anywhere, you've probably seen the image of my headphones and my wrist warmers. And I'm going to share a little bit about how these two home comforts are such a source of joy for me. But here's the thing. I never expected to enjoy wrist warmers. They were probably the last thing on my mind. It just happened that one day I was out at the beach and I wanted to do some journaling, and it was warm enough, but it was cold enough that if my hands had been out fully, I would have, I wouldn't have been able to enjoy my journaling nor do it for very long. And so I invested in a pair of these hand warmers which at £13, I couldn't really see the justification, but my daughter had already expressed a liking for them, and I'd said no previously. So I figured, well, if I don't get on with them, then at least Freya can have them. And worst case, at least I've got something to keep my hands warm while I do a bit of journaling now, and then Freya can inherit them. Well, they were a revelation. I journaled for about an hour and a half on an increasingly cold beach with increasingly toasty hands. And since then, they go pretty much everywhere with me as soon as the summer temperatures drop away. And it's very strange. I don't know whether it's perhaps a kind of neurodivergent thing, but there is something utterly powerful and wonderful about my wrist warmers. And so I wonder for you, what strange little purchase would you not be without nowadays? And I invite this question just to bring a deepening of appreciation into those small little details that can so often be overlooked, but can be a source of profound gratitude that can make our lives and our days that little bit more enjoyable when we really pause to consider them. And another case in point for me, this was more of an investment. I'd heard people talk about noise cancelling headphones, and around the time when I was considering purchasing, I'd heard the impact that they could have on ADHD. And so, having recently been diagnosed with likely ADHD, I thought maybe now would be the time to look at them. And so I actually ended up spending more than I was expecting, but a little bit less than I could have done, on the previous year's model, because they still had a wired headphone attachment, which meant I wouldn't need to be frying my brain with Bluetooth all the time, which was very attractive to me. And they have been, again, an absolute revelation. I have this special kind of music that plays unique music frequencies specifically designed for kind of ADHD brains. And I put those frequencies of music on through these noise cancelling headphones. And my capacity to drop into focus and flow almost immediately is unparalleled, whereas previously it was always a bit of a struggle. So they've been an absolute game changer to me. And so the combination sometimes of being able to use my Bluetooth keyboard, typing into my phone on the beach, journaling with my noise cancelling headphones on and my wrist warmers on is such a profound gift in my life. Journaling is an amazing tool for me personally. And so what I have here in my wrist warmers and in my noise cancelling headphones is something that is examples of two home comforts that I really never expected getting as much out of or even having full stop. And yet they have had a profoundly transformative effect on my life. And so, I wonder, as I share that, as I kind of map out my journey with those two items, What is present for you? Is there something that you just could not live without? You wouldn't be without, and yet actually it wasn't really on your radar before you got it. I wonder. And if there is something you've been considering, maybe a little purchase, maybe a big purchase, my invitation today is to look at it again, because I'd looked at noise cancelling headphones a few times and decided they weren't really, maybe it was just all hype or whatever. And yet now that I have them, I'm like, oh my gosh, how did I ever live without them? Okay. So if that does describe you, if there's something you're considering, my invitation perhaps is to take a second look, because it could just make all the difference. Because when we have our incredible home comforts, our home becomes that much richer. The home we can hold for ourselves becomes that much more complete, and therefore the way we can meet others is enhanced as well. And it can come from the smallest of things. So, celebrate your home comforts. I'd love to let me know what they are if you're somewhere that you can comment, and otherwise have a fantastic day.